Hi, welcome to another edition of the Alan Rosenberg Show. Hopefully you just got finished watching episode 4 of From Backlog to Catalog, where I showed CDs, box sets, and 45s. And what the premise is, backlog to catalog. Albums that were in my backlog that get graduated to officially in my database, officially into my collection, onto the shelves. This is episode 4.5 because in the month of April, I have gone 8-track crazy. I fixed my 8-track player, and I was thrilled. It had been playing, and if you used to have 8-tracks, the head was not aligned. I was picking up tracks from 2 different programs at the same time. I couldn't listen to it. I took it apart, tightened it up, and it's playing beautifully. So I had a big collection of 8-tracks in my backlog, and I've gotten through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 of them. Now, in just about all of these cases, in fact, in every one of these cases, I already had these albums. So it's not like I was unfamiliar with them. But as you're going to see, they're very, very different on 8-tracks. So in a way, 8-tracks are a very cool experience. So let's get through it in alphabetical order. These are the 8 tracks that went from backlog to catalog in the month of April. Starting with the Allman Brothers Band, and one of my favorite Allman Brothers albums. I mentioned this in my Dickie Betts tribute, because this album is very much a Dickie Betts album. Enlightened Rogues came out in '79. I did a whole thing on it, and it sounds really good on 8-track. Now you're going to see it says Sail Away Part 1, Part 2. That's one of the annoying things about real store-bought 8-tracks. Every once in a while, to get the song to fit between 2 programs, actually fade it out, and you hear a click, and then it fades back in, which is kind of annoying in a way. But what you are going to notice on all of these 8-tracks, the sequence of the songs is completely different than on the vinyl albums or the CDs. And they did that to try to get them to fit, because they fit the songs through 4 programs. So this album actually opens with Pegasus, into Sail Away, into Can't Take It With You. Completely different than the album. So if you know these albums really well, like I do, it's a very jarring, interesting listen, because it's almost like you listen to the album on Jumble, you know? Anyway, there you go, Allman Brothers and Enlightened Rogues. Peter Frampton, I got 2 8-tracks. One of my favorites is his debut album, Wind of Change, and this is what it looks like on 8-track. These are original 8-tracks, obviously. This is from 1972, A&M 8-tracks. Clearly don't make them anymore. And The Same Situation. Now, you can't really see it. I'll show you what it looks like. I don't know, maybe some people out there don't know what an 8-track looks like. It's a cartridge, and you stick it in the player like that. And there is the 4 programs. So, opens with Fig Tree Bay, which the album does as well. So, there is Wind to Change. Phenomenal Peter Frampton album. So, let's stick that over there. Another one of my favorite Frampton albums is Breaking All the Rules. I talk about this album all the time on my channel. If you don't have this album, you should get it if you like Peter Frampton. And there it is. Totally different sequence. Now, interestingly, this 8-track opens with the title track, which is one of the greatest Peter Frampton songs of all time. And it actually is a really cool way to open the album, because the original album opens with Dig What I Say, which is one of the worst songs on the album. It's still a fine song, but it opens here with Breaking All the Rules is killer. So that was a really good find. So some people might say, why do you listen to 8-tracks? You know, it's a different listening experience, and it's just kind of fun. Here's a Chrysalis Records 8-track, and you can see the price was still on it, $2.99 from retail back in the day. This is Rory Gallagher and Photo Finish, another one of his fine records. And there is the track listing, opening with Shin Kicker. Another fine Rory Gallagher album. Let's stick that up there. I am a huge Genesis fan. Genesis in their heyday, from Foxtrot, Nursery Crime Foxtrot, through, I'd even go up to probably Duke. is amongst my favorite music of all time. And this album is a very special record, A Trick of the Tail. And I was a fan in the day, not in retrospect. So I remember when this album came out, nobody knew what it was going to be like after Peter Gabriel. And A Trick of the Tail was still one of my favorite Genesis albums of all time. It's a fantastic album and completely different on this pink 8-track. There's a track listing. So as you can see, it goes track 1, 2, 3, 4. Of course, the album would end with Los Andos, but not the 8-track. Ends with Squonk. So, totally different experience. And I gotta say, you're gonna say it sounds like crap. It actually doesn't. On my stereo system, it sounds real good. Does it sound as good as vinyl and as good as CDs? No. But it does sound really good. Here's Jefferson and Starship and Earth, the last of the original Starship albums that I really liked. This is the least of them, probably. But Love Too Good and Count on Me, Runaway, all were hits. And there you can see they split Runaway, which is it's really annoying. It fades down, clicks, fades back in. One of the problems with 8-tracks. Jethro Tull, I got a couple of 8-tracks. And I still have more in the basement that I haven't gotten through, including some more Jethro Tull. I just haven't gotten through it. I got a sealed copy of Living in the Past, which I'm looking forward to hearing. But here is the classic War Child. You don't get liner notes with 8-tracks, by the way. And yeah, you're going to notice this one opens up with Bungle in the Jungle. Clearly quite different playlisting than the original album, So when you're listening to this, it's like, if you know the albums as well as I do, it's like a jumble. You're like, what is this? But it works. This is Minstrel in the Gallery. And Jethro Tull. Green cartridge. And there it is. Opens up with the full Minstrel in the Gallery there. But Baker Street Muse, really long track, so it gets split. That's that one right there. Let's keep going. We shall. This is a cool one. This is Less Variations, one of my really cool band that nobody knows but me, and I've talked about them. This is Cafe de Paris. Actually had a hit in America. Superman. Superman. Dun, 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 dun. That was fun finding that on the 8-track. Let's stick that over there. Hang out there, Les. Okay. Henry Paul Band. One of the great debut albums of all time. Certainly in Southern rock. And because Henry Paul came from the Outlaws. This is a great album. If you like Southern rock and you never heard the Grey Ghost album, you need to go get it right away. It is that awesome. And So Long, title track. Every song on this album is really good, by the way. Not a bum song on that album. One of my favorite albums of all time. Not easy to find the Rolling Stones on 8-track. Especially pink 8-track. But here is Goat's Head Soup. A really special album for me. The first Stones album I ever bought when it came out. I was 10 years old. And look at the track listing. It opens with Heartbreaker. It's so strange. Heartbreaker, Hide Your Love, Star Star. Of course, the real album, the original album opened with Dancing with Mr. D. So you listen to this album, it is so strange. The original album closes with Star Star. This closes with Winter and Coming Down Again before that. So 2 really heavy-duty ballads in a row. It works really good. But that's what happens when an album is so great. You really could jumble the songs. And this one is a cool one. This is Ron Wood, his first solo record. I've got my own album to do. And this actually came in a slipcase that is kind of busted up, but still got it. And there's your track listing. And this one has, because of musical consideration, there's a 40-second silence at the end of track 4. So they tried to split up the tracks, but didn't totally work. But there you go, Ronnie Wood and his first solo record on 8-track. And one more, my favorite Rick Wakeman album. I was thrilled to get this sealed. I still got it, $2.99. And we are talking Rick Wakeman and the Myths and Legends of King Arthur. Love this album. I have multiple versions of this thing. This is such a cool. And this one's got good graphics. Look at that. You don't see graphics on 8-tracks too much. But there you have it. King Arthur, Rick Wakeman. So there you go. Part of my April from Backlog to Catalog 8-tracks. I figured I would separate them out. And like I said, I still got a bunch more 8-tracks on there that I'm getting through. But this one's got 4, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 albums on 8-track that I went through in the month of April. Do you have 8-tracks? Have you ever heard them? Remember them? I had them in my car. One of the highlights of my life when I got my first car. And I went to a place called Cartoons, and I put in a new stereo that they used to be able to do to stick it in the dash, and it had an 8-track. And I used to have tons and tons of 8-tracks. And I got rid of all of them, and now I'm buying them up again because I bought actually it was my 8-track player for my stereo back when I was a kid, and it records, and I found one, and I had it refurbished and rebuilt, and got it, and it played for a little bit, and then it kind of fudged, so that's the one I just fixed. So there's my story with 8-tracks. But maybe you had 8-tracks when you were growing up. The older you get, you kind of reminisce and you go back in time. But surprisingly, through my stereo system and the quality of that player, refurbished, it sounds pretty damn good. So there you go. As always, stay safe, stay healthy. Thanks for watching. Love your comments. And I'll see you next time on the Alan Rosenberg Show.